I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Sewing Report is celebrating 10 years on YouTube. Welcome to the Sewing Report. I'm Jen. This channel is all about making sewing fun and approachable. And I really wanted to just talk to you for a little bit, just reflecting on an entire decade here, making videos, doing live streams, and sharing my love of sewing and making here on the platform. Just a quick warning in advance, this is going to be a bit of a rambly video, but first off, I really just want to say thank you. A huge thank you to everyone who's watching this, every single person who's ever subscribed, liked a video, left a comment, purchased something from the Etsy shop, followed me here on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the social media platforms. I feel so incredibly grateful to be able to do this for a living. I started the Sewing Report channel not really knowing what it was going to turn into or what I was going to do on it. Started it. I believe I actually officially made the website sewingreport.com on Valentine's Day of 2016. That's 10 years ago. It's 10 years ago. If you're kind of new here, you're not familiar, I have a more of a traditional broadcasting background. And prior to doing the Sewing Report full time, I was a news producer and I worked in local and network news for over 15 years. It's hard if you've never worked in the media industry. It's actually pretty difficult to transition into something else. I'm going to be real with you. I really hated my job. I actually never really liked working in the industry. I was okay at it. I don't think I was one of the best or anything. I managed to stick it out for a while. I worked in many different newsrooms, several different states. It's a pretty tough life. I'm so very happy that my life career path has led me down this particular road because I actually really enjoy what I do now. I didn't really know what this was going to turn into. I liked blogging. I really liked, kind of having something that I called the shots on, which is really not the case if you're working in a newsroom. So I started this venture out of my house. We were living in Atlanta 10 years ago, and at the time I was working at CNN. Kind of an interesting fact, for most of my news career, I was under an employment contract, and the contracts, they're a bit hardcore, and I will say they're pretty one-sided against the employee. I do think some of these newsrooms are getting away from employment contracts, especially for off-air employees. I was not a reporter or an anchor, so I was not on television. So I do feel like that was, a little unfair. I don't know. But until I was working at CNN, I was actually not allowed to have a YouTube channel or anything like that because it would have gone against my employment contract. I was not allowed to do anything like that. And even when I was working at CNN, I actually had to get permission from management to have, a public presence and do something like that. And they were okay with it, which was cool because it had nothing to do with news. This is a sewing channel. So really it's not it's a competitor to CNN. So they were okay with that. And I did that for about a year and a half in my off time. So I started this just out of my house. We've since moved back to Florida, and I've been able to just focus primarily on content creation since late 2017. So about a year and a half after I started the Sewing Report. And I'm just so thankful and grateful to all of you that I get to do this every day. I will say it's not easy, and it is very challenging, especially with all the platform changes. If you're doing content creation for a living, you do have to be very willing to adapt to changes, and you really have to be okay with pivoting in a new direction. And you can probably tell on this channel that's happened quite a few times. I've changed what types of content I was doing. I've changed the format. I've tried live streaming a number of times. I've started a second channel, Sewing Report Live. We also have a couple other YouTube channels that are really unrelated to this. Kind of cobbling together all of that has made it work financially. It's really tough, though. I will say, as someone who has been able to do this for the past decade, it's really hard. Your income can fluctuate widely. This is very unstable. And one of the reasons I'm able to do this is because I will say, we keep our living expenses fairly low. I am married. My husband has like a regular job, but he's very supportive of what I'm doing. Kind of a biggie, we don't have kids. So I know if you have a family or if you're, you have like other people to support, this might not be as doable. So it really, like I get asked quite often, how can I do content creation full time or be a YouTuber or do social media? And you really have to be out of the box with your thinking and willing to do a lot of different things. I have many different sources of income, not just like the YouTube ads, but a lot of other stuff. I also started the Sewing Report Etsy shop selling supplies and fabric. And I will say I've learned a ton along the way. Operating your own like small business really teaches you a lot. You have some tough lessons. There are some things that go well. Not everything goes according to plan, and it's been really difficult, especially over the last few years. I know a lot of content creators have been struggling with platform changes and other things. There's like AI, there's all this other stuff that kind of gets thrown at you as a content creator, and you have to figure out what you're going to do next. So just in my, this is my opinion. I don't think this is probably for most people, just what you have to do to make this work and survive in this landscape, I think it's pretty challenging. And that is why most YouTube channels fail. Like if I'm being honest, most YouTube channels never even get monetized, and they definitely don't even get to 10,000 subscribers. I will say, out of all of the social media platforms, I certainly have my criticisms of YouTube, but I do think that it is the best platform to build, in my opinion. I'm on, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I've tried, Pinterest, all of them. Just far and away, in my opinion, the best platform has absolutely been YouTube. YouTube has added tons of features over the years. I know a lot of people complain about YouTube, but I actually do think they're one of the more fair tech platforms to the content creators. They've added YouTube shopping, which is a real game changer for a lot of creators. It allows you to earn commissions off of, selling products. Some people like and don't like that aspect. But I think one thing that really works for me is doing very honest, transparent, kind of brutal product reviews. I say what I want to say about products and about, things that are on my mind. And I think one of the benefits is, and one of the reasons I'm able to do that is I purchase the vast majority of the products I feature here on the channel. I know this is very unusual, but I don't rely on sponsorships or brand collabs because I've just found that they kind of tend to be too restrictive for my liking. So that's not really how I make money here on YouTube. I'll be real. So some of the ways that I earn an income on YouTube are, one, you earn money off of the ads that are played on the videos. It's called YouTube or Google AdSense. I actually personally like all of the affiliate programs. I'm in a bunch of them. I do Amazon. I feel like it's a way to share things that you actually find helpful and useful to people or cool, but I can talk about these products in my own way without somebody signing off on approval. And that's one thing that I personally find to be not great about when I've tried to work with different companies. I don't know. A lot of these partnerships just really aren't for me. So I like to say what I want to say about things without, worrying about all of these, contractual obligations or restrictions on what I can say or not say. Another thing too is it is kind of hard I think this is maybe one benefit to being a former TV producer is that I don't really have trouble. Sometimes I do have some creative blocks as far as executing video and content ideas, but I think one benefit to the background is that I find I don't really have trouble coming up with ideas or things I can do. I will probably start taking this channel in maybe new directions. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like yet, but I feel like I've got a lot left in the tank, a lot left to give here, and I don't want to stop doing this. I really want to continue doing YouTube and making videos that help people, that entertain people, can inspire people to make things, because that's why I started the channel. So I'm really, really trying to figure out some new and different directions to take the Sewing Report. I will still be doing, I know lately the embroidery videos are really what people are coming here for. I like doing the product reviews. Some of you have tuned in for the tutorials. The tutorials are really pretty like high level production for me in terms of the effort, the time, and just the difficulty level. Just a tip for aspiring content creators, it really helps to kind of mix up the production level of your content and do some content that is like higher effort and some that's a little bit easier for you to produce or that doesn't take as much time, just because YouTube, the platform, they do reward consistency with putting out content. I know some people love or hate the YouTube shorts. I'm getting used to them. I know they're kind of a necessary thing you have to do. As a former broadcast veteran, I find the vertical format, especially for me being over 40, to be like really like it just feels very foreign to me. Like it does not come easy to me to make short form content, but I know it's something you kind of have to do because the shorts on YouTube are really blowing up. So you can either get on the train or you get left behind. I don't want to get left behind. So I'm really trying to find ways to make the vertical short form content like work for me as a creator and you know, and I want to be able to learn new things and to try to make that type of content and be involved. I will be doing more like short form content here on the Sewing Report, or maybe even things that are like, may not be like enough for like a full-fledged regular YouTube video, but just quick things that might be helpful to people or just able to share like snippets of the day or like the creative process. I will be doing more YouTube shorts, even though I'm having a real tough time with them. I'm just gonna be being real here. I have a tough time with the YouTube shorts. So I know like in the past I've gone in like a million different directions here with the channel, and I've found out the hard way. Some things work, some things don't work, and I've certainly made some mistakes. Thanks to you though, I'm really, really proud of hitting 100,000 subscribers. It took me a pretty long time. It took me like 7 years. So my growth, I know, was slower than a lot of other channels. And I do find that there are some challenges and also some advantages to being a quote unquote older creator. And that's what I know. A lot of these creators are like 15 and I'm middle-aged in my 40s. I know I started the channel while I was mid-30s, and even then, that was older than a lot of other people grow their YouTube channels. Sometimes I feel like I was born in like the wrong decade or something. I wish I was born in the 90s so that I could have started doing YouTube as a teenager. When YouTube started, I think YouTube started in like 2000, I want to say like 2005 maybe, so about 20 years ago. And at the time, I was out of college and I was working my first job when YouTube started. So when YouTube started, like there was really, nobody thought that it was going to be a platform where people could do things like this. I remember working in TV, and my boss at the time, we kind of all saw YouTube as, remember that show, America's Funniest Home Videos, where people could submit home videos of like funny cat videos or like somebody, falling into a pool or whatever. And people would be like, oh, this is funny. At the time, YouTube was just thought of as like something like that, just a place where people could upload like amateur videos to like friends and family. Maybe it would go viral, but I don't think a lot of people saw the future of YouTube 20 years later being this huge media powerhouse, overtake legacy media, overtake even like Netflix, regular television, to be this huge powerhouse, mega house where the average person could grow a business on it, could make a living on it. And it's pretty incredible how far we've come just on a technological level, that this right here is possible. When I first got into television, this was like not even remotely a possibility. If you wanted to broadcast yourself, you needed millions of dollars in equipment. You needed corporate backing, huge, like mega corporate backing. You could not do this on a budget scale. But now in 2026, anyone with an iPhone or like a smartphone can start a YouTube channel with basically no money, which I think is really just like that. Like, it blows my mind as someone who grew up in the 80s and worked in traditional media. It just blows my mind that something like this is possible to a teenager, to someone with no money. So the barrier to entry for being on YouTube or starting something on social media is basically zero. I mean, the opportunity here is real. And I don't think, even if you wanted to start a YouTube channel now, I wouldn't come into it with the mindset like, oh, I'm so late to the party, this is going to be impossible. It's not. It really isn't. I have seen even people starting YouTube like last year get like 300,000 subscribers doing a shorts channel in like 3 months. Don't feel like it's too late if you're interested in doing YouTube or you're interested in trying to build something on social media, because it's very possible. You just really have to be, I will say, you have to be really willing to learn, be humble, go into it with a very open mindset, and just a willingness to do whatever it takes. This has kind of gone off the rails, but it is what it is. Hey, this is my channel, so I guess I can talk about whatever I want here. I will say, okay, so to celebrate 10 years of YouTube on the Sewing Report, I'm trying to think of something I can do for, people watching the channel. Right now, though, I am offering a 10% discount on the Sewing Report Etsy shop. So it's sewingreport.etsy.com. I do have a 10% off sale on certain items right now. And if you make a purchase of $65 or more, you will get an additional 10% off. So that even applies to stuff that's already on sale. And you'll get, I do offer free shipping within the United States. Check out the shop. It helps support the channel. And yeah, I cannot believe it's been 10 years, hundreds and hundreds of YouTube videos, quite a few different live streams, quite a few different, I'm really still trying to figure out the YouTube shorts. I can't believe we've made it this far. So if you're watching this and you've been watching for a long time, let me know down in the comments. I would love to know like when you found this channel, like how did you find it? And like, when did you start watching videos here on the Sewing Report? And yeah, if you have any also like general questions about YouTube, I don't really do YouTube help content here because I've kind of done it in the past and people really like weren't very interested. But if you do just have like questions, general questions like about YouTube in general, also drop that down below in the comments and I'll try to answer if I can. Anyways, I just wanted to jump on real quick and just kind of reflect a little bit about an entire decade here on YouTube. Stick with me. I'm hoping we've got like a lot more years in the tank here. I'm Jen with the Sewing Report. I'll see you again in the next one. And remember, whatever you're doing, make it fun.